Alright, folks, the fight everyone has been buzzing about is officially happening. Yes, the Tyson-Paul matchup is on, and it's one of the strangest promotions I've seen. The coverage I've encountered from other creators usually falls into two camps. One group seems to think that Mike Tyson from the 90s is going to make a miraculous comeback and obliterate Jake Paul, reducing him to just a YouTuber. To put it bluntly, this is ignorance. The other group, which seems to be the majority, consists of creators who are clearly getting paid to hype up the fight. Now, I have no problem with creators getting their bag. Hey, if they offered to pay me, it wouldn't change my honest take on this fight. So many boxing creators have been praising a fight that is essentially a lose-lose situation for the sport. As a fan of boxing, I respect Mike Tyson and understand Jake Paul's appeal. But before you start writing lengthy comments about how I'm already wrong, stay with me as I give you one of the most honest breakdowns you're going to hear before this fight. This fight is fascinating yet horrific for several reasons. I compare it to an impending train crash that you just can't look away from. This isn't coming from a place of hate. I'll be watching, and so will you, and probably a huge number of people who wouldn't normally watch boxing. Mike Tyson is one of the biggest names the sport has ever seen. Though his career effectively ended a quarter of a century ago, Jake Paul, on the other hand, is a YouTuber turned boxer who everyone loves to hate. And I say love to hate in the past tense, for a reason I'll get into shortly. On paper, this matchup sounds interesting but doesn't make much sense in reality. So how did it even happen in the first place? Jake Paul's promotion, MVP, brokered this deal with Netflix. MVP and Paul's career have bounced around almost every promotion you can imagine. Some people even claim they were the reason Showtime Sports isn't around anymore. Known for overinflating Paul's worth, they keep jumping from promotion to promotion until they find one willing to pay the ludicrous upfront fees they demand. That's exactly what's happening here. Netflix has been flirting with the idea of entering combat sports. They recently signed on the WWE, so it was only a matter of time before they branched into other entertainment-driven sports. Enter Jake Paul. They originally tried to set up a rematch with Tommy Fury, which fell through, leading into the unlikely opponent in Mike Tyson. I wouldn't really be mentioning the business side of things if it weren't for the kind of horrific deal for this fight. Jake Paul is getting a guaranteed $40 million as he clings to relevancy, commanding the biggest paycheck of his career, while Mike Tyson is only being paid $20 million. Paul getting paid almost double what Tyson is, considering Tyson is the main attraction here. Rubs me the wrong way. Tyson doesn't need this fight. Paul does. The whole Jake Paul show was initially driven by hate. Combat sports fans wanted to see him lose, and he sold pay-per-views primarily because of this hatred. However, when he lost to Tommy Fury, it nearly extinguished that flame. After that, it was clear there was a struggle for direction. He toyed with the idea of becoming an MMA fighter, then considered pursuing a world title through conventional boxing, but neither option generated the previous level of attention. It became clear that he alone wasn't enough of a draw. Nobody cared when Jake fought Andrew August. No one cared, so his promotion looked for the biggest name possible. They found Mike Tyson, a name that still resonates powerfully, but this setup has also made Paul the most hated man in combat sports once again. Mike Tyson hasn't had a professional fight since 2005, which ended his career on a somewhat depressing note. He did have an exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. a few years ago, which impressed many, not because he was phenomenal, but because he was impressive for his age. Tyson doesn't need the money, but $20 million is too good to refuse. Tyson likely believes he can still beat Jake Paul, but if you strip away the glitz and glamour from Paul, what remains is a decent lower to mid-level boxer. If he were a journeyman pro, he might win a regional title and have an average record. The narrative that Paul is just a YouTuber is outdated. For the last 5 years or more, he's had access to top-tier training and sparring, becoming a decent boxer in the process. But the talk about him wanting a genuine boxing legacy is largely a facade. He's a businessman, and his team wouldn't take a fight unless they believed they had the edge. So how do I see this fight going down? There are many potential outcomes, although some are slightly better than others. Let's first consider the path I think is most likely, Jake Paul winning. Unfortunately, I fear we'll see a repeat of Holyfield versus Belfort. Before that fight, Holyfield looked fantastic on the pads and the bag. He was in great shape, facing a former UFC champion. But once the fight started, his age showed. He ended up going out in the first round because you can't outrun time. Belfort, while not a great boxer, had enough youth on his side to make a difference. The same might happen here. Tyson might look good in training clips, but in the ring against a younger, stronger opponent, it could be a different story. If Jake Paul knocks out Mike Tyson, it's going to be horrendous to watch. It's like watching your favorite uncle get knocked out. If it's really bad, it could have dire consequences for the sport. God forbid Tyson gets seriously hurt. This would further tarnish boxing's reputation. Casual viewers who don't usually watch boxing will see the result and it will be all over the news. If it's a brutal knockout in Paul's favor, it's not just bad because Paul won, but because it raises the question of how boxing could allow a legend, essentially a senior citizen, to take such a fight. All the talk about wanting to die in the ring might sound cool for promotion, but if Tyson gets seriously hurt, who will they point the finger at? This scenario could fulfill Jake Paul's narrative of proving everyone wrong, but at what cost? It might drive pay-per-view sales, but it could also damage the sport's credibility. This fight is a spectacle driven by money, not by genuine competition. Tyson's legacy should be respected, and Paul's pursuit of relevancy shouldn't come at the expense of a legend's health. As fans, we watch with a mix of fascination and dread, hoping for the best but fearing the worst. In conclusion, the Tyson-Paul fight is a strange, fascinating, and potentially horrific event. It's a matchup that shouldn't be happening, driven by business rather than sport. While I'll be watching, and many others will too, we do so with the understanding that this fight is a spectacle more than a genuine competition. Let's hope for a safe outcome and remember that boxing, at its core, should be about respect and competition, not just entertainment.